This is the story of Joseph, from the pit to the palace. You may have heard about him before, but what Joseph endured and achieved is nothing short of extraordinary, and it holds lessons that resonate even today. Our story begins in Canaan, a land known for its rocky terrain and winding paths. Joseph is the 11th son of Jacob, one of the patriarchs of the children of Israel. Jacob had many sons, but Joseph was his favorite. He was the firstborn son of Jacob's beloved wife, Rachel. Jacob cherished Joseph so much that it created tension among his other sons. To show his affection, Jacob made Joseph a beautiful multicolored coat. It was not just any coat. Its vibrant colors symbolized special favor. But as beautiful as the coat was, it became a source of anger and jealousy among Joseph's brothers. One day, Joseph shared something that made things worse: a dream. He told his brothers, "Listen, I had a dream. We were binding sheaves of grain out in the field, and suddenly my sheaf rose and stood upright, while your sheaves gathered around mine and bowed down to it." The brothers were incensed. "Do you intend to reign over us?" they asked bitterly. But Joseph was undeterred and later shared another dream. "This time, I saw the sun, the moon, and 11 stars bowing down to me." This dream implied that even his father and mother would bow to him. For his brothers, this was the last straw. Their jealousy turned into hatred. Not long after these dreams, the brothers' frustration found a sinister outlet. Joseph, wearing his infamous multicolored coat, was sent by his father to check on his brothers, who were grazing sheep far from home. As they saw him approaching from a distance, resentment boiled over, and one of them suggested, "Here comes the dreamer. Let's kill him and throw him into one of these pits. We'll say a ferocious animal devoured him." But one brother, Reuben, intervened. "Let's not take his life," he said. Instead, Reuben suggested they throw Joseph into a pit, intending to rescue him later. When Joseph reached them, they seized him and stripped him of his coat, a symbolic act, as they were trying to strip him of his father's favor. They threw him into a pit, with no water and no way out. As fate would have it, a caravan of Ishmaelite traders passed by, heading toward Egypt. Judah, another brother, saw an opportunity and suggested selling Joseph instead of leaving him to die. The brothers agreed, and they sold Joseph for 20 pieces of silver, the price of a slave. The pain and betrayal Joseph must have felt are unimaginable. In Egypt, Joseph was sold to Potiphar, an official of Pharaoh and captain of the guard. Despite his dire circumstances, Joseph remained faithful to God and worked diligently. Potiphar noticed Joseph's integrity and success, and soon Joseph was entrusted with managing Potiphar's entire household. But just when things seemed to improve, trouble found Joseph again. Potiphar's wife took notice of him and tried to seduce him. When Joseph refused her advances, she accused him of misconduct. Potiphar believed his wife's false accusations, and Joseph was thrown into prison. Another pit, this time metaphorical, awaited Joseph. Even in prison, Joseph's faith shone brightly. God granted him favor in the eyes of the prison warden, and he was put in charge of the prisoners. Joseph also had a gift for interpreting dreams, which would soon pave the way for remarkable redemption. One day, Pharaoh's cupbearer and baker, both in prison, shared troubling dreams with Joseph. He interpreted them accurately. The cupbearer would be restored to his position, and the baker would be executed. Joseph asked the cupbearer to remember him when he was released, but the cupbearer forgot. Joseph spent 2 more years in prison, but God's timing was perfect. Pharaoh himself had puzzling dreams that no one could interpret. He dreamed of 7 fat cows being devoured by 7 skinny cows, and 7 plump heads of grain swallowed by 7 thin heads of grain. These perplexing dreams troubled Pharaoh greatly. It was then that the cupbearer finally remembered Joseph. Pharaoh summoned Joseph immediately. Standing before the leader of Egypt was undoubtedly intimidating. But Joseph humbly acknowledged, "I cannot do it, but God will give Pharaoh the answer he desires." Joseph explained that both dreams held the same meaning. Egypt would experience 7 years of abundance, followed by 7 years of severe famine. Joseph didn't stop there. He advised Pharaoh to appoint a wise and discerning man to oversee the storage of surplus grain during the years of abundance. Pharaoh was impressed, and he said, "Can we find anyone like this man, one in whom is the Spirit of God?" Joseph was then placed in charge of all of Egypt. From the pit to the palace, Joseph's journey had come full circle. As predicted, the famine extended its reach, even affecting Joseph's family in Canaan. Hearing that Egypt had grain, Jacob sent his sons to buy some. When they arrived, they did not recognize the man standing before them as their brother. But Joseph knew them. Instead of revealing himself, he tested their character. Were they still cruel and selfish, or had they changed? The ultimate test came when Joseph demanded they bring Benjamin, their youngest brother and Jacob's new favorite, to Egypt. Initially, Jacob refused, but the famine left him no choice. When Benjamin arrived, Joseph hosted a feast, but he devised one more test. He planted a silver cup in Benjamin's sack and accused him of theft. The brothers pleaded for mercy, and Judah offered himself in place of Benjamin. Their willingness to sacrifice themselves showed Joseph that they had changed. Overwhelmed with emotion, Joseph could no longer contain himself. He sent his servants away, and with tears streaming down his face, he revealed his identity. "I am Joseph. Is my father still alive?" he cried. His brothers were terrified, thinking he would seek revenge. But Joseph spoke words that echo through time. "Do not be distressed or angry with yourselves for selling me here, because it was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you." Joseph's forgiveness and understanding of God's greater plan are perhaps the most profound aspects of this story. He invited his entire family to live in Egypt, saving them from the famine. What his brothers intended for harm, God used for good. The story of Joseph teaches us about resilience, faith, forgiveness, and the mysterious ways in which God works through our lives. Think of the pits you've been in, whether literal or metaphorical. Joseph's story reminds us that those pits can lead to palaces if we remain faithful and trust God's plan. From betrayal to redemption, from slavery to leadership, Joseph's life is a testament to unwavering faith and divine purpose. And that's the story of Joseph, from the pit to the palace. Ensure the expanded voiceover is even more entertaining, but that it maintains the same style, tone, and key points as the original.